Today I'm going to share with you some of my favorite books about writing craft. I don't actually believe in rules for writers. I believe that you do what works for you. But as a kid who grew up reading a ton and someone who was a teacher for 17 years, everything really important that I've learned has come from a book. And I don't think writing craft is any different. So in addition to reading a ton of fiction, I also read books on writing craft. Sometimes I just take one sentence out of them, but it's still worth it to me. I really like this one, Outlining Your Novel by Kim Weiland. It's great. I have a lot of highlighting in it because it talks about how to quote unquote highlight for someone who's a pantser and writes as they go, and somebody who plots. And a lot of outlining books only talk about how to work if you're a plotter. These are my 3 structure books that I can't live without. Save the Cat by Blake Snyder, James Scott Bell's Plot and Structure, and Larry Brooks's Story Engineering. And they're all a little bit different, but they operate on the principle of kind of the hero's journey and following a 3-act structure, which really helps for pacing. They're heavily tabbed and dog-eared for all the parts that I use the most. James is fantastic. He has a lot of craft books. I own all of them, and every single one is amazing. After I have a beat sheet and a little bit of an outline and a plot, I need to name some people. So even if you're not having a baby name book is a very handy thing to have, because a lot of them have sections for, old-fashioned names or different ethnicities and countries. Once I start writing, I use this book a lot. It's called The Emotion Thesaurus. And basically, you can pick any of the major emotions, and it will tell you the physical and internal reactions. So for example, if someone's angry and you turn to anger, it will talk about what their facial expressions will look like, their jaw being set. It will talk about their stomach, tightening, or their fists clenching. And obviously, most of us know what anger looks like, but some of the more obscure emotions, you can get caught up. So it's really helpful. I have a lot of books for dummies, but this is the most important one. It's Scrivener for Dummies. It's the software that I use on my computer when I'm writing instead of Word. I graduated from Word only recently, which means that I can promise you Scrivener is very easy to use. But I do like this book because sometimes if I forget how to set up the cork board or set up the outline feature, I can just flip through it in the book. And then this is a really great book when I'm revising. It's by Elizabeth Lyon. It's called Manuscript Makeover. It's well used. And it has great sections. There's a section about finding the words that you abuse. And I'm a huge offender of this. This is very important. Like a quiet opening. It talks about different types of openings. How do you start your story? What are the different techniques for hooking the reader early? And it talks about the fact that there's a lot of different ways to do that. But it also reminds me to go back and look at things like the beginning and make sure that it really is interesting and sucks the reader in. And the ending, making sure that the end, whether I want you to laugh or cry or feel hopeful, that I hit that note.